let's do it. Let's take up this Gemara. Let's take up the next Gemara the way I think is the best way to put it. All right. Let's for now. Let's just shelve. Let's shelve the Yad Echad Shtei Yadayim thing for just a few minutes. Okay. In other words, we're not going to take up the issue of one hand versus two yet. We'll come back to that. Okay. Let's dive into Rava. Okay. Who's reading today?
I'll read.
Okay. All right. So let's start with Rava's questions. What's Rava's question? The Y lines in Kuf Chav Gimel Beis. Rava's question starts 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down. Amalei Rava. Four lines down in Kuf Chav Gimel Beis. 4 lines down the wide lines. 2, 3, 4. Go towards the middle. It says Amalei Rava. Aleph Am. No, it's all Amalei. All right. So what does Rava say? Amalei Rava.
Amalei Rava. Rava said back to him. Nidei Ateru. Because.
No, so once they mattered it, Michti et Yerukani. Once they mattered what? Once they decided to go down this road of
maturation.
Very good. That's something I would say. Of maturation, of relaxing. Okay, of opening up the door, so to speak, to starting to take this stringency and make it more makel.
Mali l'tzorech gufo, mali l'tzorech makom.
So what's his question?
Why do I need to say that gufo, like do it using the object? Presumably we're talking about Klish Muktzeh.
Who cares? No. He's saying in general.
In general, why do we have to say that gufo is allowed?
No, he's saying there's no difference between gufo and makomo.
You different did for
right. There never should be. If you're going to start relaxing, okay, you would never make a chiluk. You would never differentiate between gufo and makomo. Okay.
Ella Amar Rava. Rather, Rava says.
Right.
Heteru davar shemalachto leheter bein l'tzorech gufo ubein l'tzorech.
Stop. Let's just define that first point. Okay. So therefore, what does he say? So his first step is what?
That for klish malachto leheter,
yeah,
like a spoon, you are allowed to do it just like Abaye said. You're allowed to use it for another purpose that. For another purpose than its initial usage, and you're allowed to move it to use its place.
Question.
Hold on. Okay, so before you ask the question, okay, so in Klishim Lachta Laheter, so he's saying there was never any difference between the two. Which now, let's be careful. He's saying both, right? That there's such a thing as Gufa Makomo, but conceptually, is there any difference between the two? That's what we care about right now. Rava. Okay, so Rava's question Abaye is, where are you getting this idea from? There should be difference between Tzarech Gufa and Tzarech Makomo. This is like, hold on. This is like what was saying John before. In other words, remember our ideas. Tzarech Gufa means utility, right? Tzarech Makomo is a more expansive idea. That means as long as it's productive. So Rava says that differentiation you just came up with is nonsense. Okay? So what's his idea?
Right.
The simplest way to put it is that the transition, Rava's transition is to take it out of the framework of the Chafsa and put it to the framework of the way I relate to it. So that's what you were saying this last time.
How is Malcolm for Abaye related to the Chafsa? It's related to the way you relate to the Chafsa.
I know, but he's gonna have to say it's still a property in the Chafsa. It's just a subjective property. It's a subjective thing. It still comes from the Kli. No. So you kept saying that's what you kept saying last time. Well, hold on. Let me just get the point out. Then I'll explain it.
I'm like Chafta with objective and Gavra.
Great. Okay. 1 second. But what's he saying? What's he saying in the end? So Rav is saying that since tiltal is always an expression, right, of function, right? Meaning when I move something, that's why the Chametz Sel case is going to be beautiful. Okay. When I move something, right, even if it's Mekomo, in other words, it's always an expression of what? No, but it's always an expression of what? What's always an expression of? Like when, and there's even Mekomo, it's always an expression of
how you relate to it.
Right, my function. Okay, so there's no idea in the Kli itself of properties. Right, exactly. It's always the way I relate to it. Now you can understand why the next case is going to be Chamal Etzel.
That's the same case for
Prove my point. Rava, forget Chamal Etzel for a second. But Rava's beautiful because what's Rava saying? Rava takes that point of Makomo and runs it. He says, 1 second, look what you've done, Abaye. You've now introduced. It's very nice to say it in a nice way to say that by Makomo. What's the idea? The idea is that there is even a property in the Kli itself of being productive for my needs. Right? But what's Rava's argument? Rava's saying you've gone a little too far. Rava's saying, why not just take the whole thing and do it from the perspective of the Gavra, the way he relates to it? And if it's how he relates to it, there's no Gufo Makomo. As long as my movement is one that is productive, right? Then it's considered okay to move the thing on Shabbos.
According to the Gavra.
According to the Gavra. Okay. So now read the case of Chamal Etzel. So the next heter that he has is what?
The Chazru. Oh, and then they came back and they made it.
V'tiru.
V'tiru mecham letzel.
What's mecham letzel? Take a look at Rashi.
Rashi says mecham letzel is. Yeah, I know it is.
So take a, what does Rashi say? What's cham letzel?
Cham letzel. Okay. It is she'enot tzarich lo achshav. Lo legupa v'lo legukama.
Oh, 1 second. So what does that mean? What's cham? Okay, first, what is cham letzel? Before we get, sorry, we shouldn't read Rashi first.
You move it from sun to shade.
Why?
to prevent it from getting damaged.
Right. So give me an example. What's the kli we're using?
The radioactive plant.
No. What's the kli we're using? A real kli.
Drill.
Power drill.
Oh, the power drill. Okay, and if you leave the power drill outside, what's going to happen to it?
Batteries will die.
Okay, but it's chama letzel. Whatever, fine.
Figured it.
Okay, in order
Corroded by the sun.
it'll be corroded by the sun. Okay, so what do? On Shabbos, I say, you know what? I don't want that thing to get destroyed, so I move it inside.
Very good.
Right?
Productive.
Seems very productive. Seems very reasonable.
No, it's not.
So what does Rashi say? He says, "She'enot tzarich lo achshav." He has no need for it right now, right? Lo.
Yeah, lo legupa v'lo legukama.
So what's Rashi telling you?
That's
It's not positive then.
More than that. More than that.
Well, Abai defines productivity as
Well, hold on, before we get this far. Listen to the Ritva. Hold on.
Can't you just loophole it instead of using it for something?
That's what, Ezra. So let me add one more point. Listen to what the Ritva says. The Ritva says, "What's chama letzel?" It says, "Pera she'eno elo tzorach hakli." So when I move a power drill from the sun to the shade, it's only for the benefit. It's only for the usage of the only for the necessity of the kli.
which is
Hold on. I'm helping out the power drill. I'm not. Okay, 1 second. Taking it literally, I'm not helping me out. I'm helping out the power drill. The power. 1 second. I know what you're going to say. The power drill doesn't want to be outside. Oh, that. But he makes it very important. 1 second. He says, but therefore, okay, kol shelo litzarech klal lo itiru taltel afilu kim shem lachtam laheter. That's an important point. Okay, let's take a spoon. Okay, can I just move a spoon?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. The deduction he's making is I can never just move a spoon.
it's the dinner productivity that gives us the dinner of a clean.
Yeah. So now, right? Let's define this. What is the?
Why do you have to bring it inside? It doesn't already.
Right,
I don't know. The guy wants to bring. He doesn't have a cover. My blankets are in the laundry.
we're not going
Okay?
to talk a lot.
Who cares why? Yeah, exactly. We don't care. The scenario is, remember, we're dealing with hypotheticals. In this hypothetical, I can match the variable to whatever you present. So guess what? He has no blankets. He can't cover it. It's a burning hot day, and it says on the instruction sheet, do not leave this power drill in the sun because it will corrode. So what does the guy say? I'm going to move this inside my house, right? And Rashi says, and the Ritva says, it's for the tzorach of the kli. No, maybe. It's for the tzorach of the kli. What is that? What's the havi the maskana?
What is that?
No, guys. What makes chama letzel different? Because every time I do an action, let's say I move a
It's
kli
not the,
here,
It's a removal of a negative.
it's a future negative.
Right. It's not
Right.
immediate.
In other words,
Immediate.
it's a preemptive action. It's a preemptive action. There's nothing productive in my taking the kli from the sun to the shade, right? Rather, what am I doing? I'm trying to prevent a harm.
Right.
So automatically, you're going to understand
What
why.
does immediate- So is that future harm and immediate harm if it's going to get immediately destroyed by leaving it out there?
Well, it's always future
yeah, because otherwise it's
because we're 1 second away.
Well, then it's always future benefit also.
No, so David, hey,
making hard.
right.
Using the force
So-
of the benefit as you're using it. Moving the
Right.
thing is not being destroyed while you're moving it.
I understand. It could be immediate. Would be different. Let's just say the regular case.
It can't be immediate, others would be destroyed already.
No, I agree. You're right, and that's what he's trying to say. It's like 1 second. It's 1 second ahead. But no. That's like a semantic thing. All right, just understand categorically. Okay. In other words, the first question is define the phenomenon. The phenomenon is
It's kind of going insofar as the future.
say what makes it. No, say what makes it non-productive.
Removal of the negative.
Right. No, so that's what will make it non-productive. It's non-productive because the action itself is one that is preemptive.
No, but let's say it's preemptive good. Like you can move this here.
Just to set it up though. In other words, why would a question emerge? Just understand and appreciate the question. The question emerges because when I look at an action of taking something from sun and putting it to the shade, that action itself is one that's preventing something. It's a preemptive action. A preemptive action by itself is non-productive. Productive means this has resulted in something. Okay? But the in something hasn't emerged yet.
Is it preemptive also for preemptive?
The fact that the final step's easy because the final step's just is going to say what? I mean, you can work backwards from this final step. The final step is saying that, so in the Gavras framework, it's still productive, right? But if you say that, then let's be precise here. Even though the Gavras framework is productive, meaning overall, but what's lacking?
The action itself is not.
But the Maisa Tiltal is not a productive action. That's the point.
Right, just
There's in Chazar B'Tur is like this. Initially they said it's how the Gavra relates to the Kli. But the Maisa Tiltal itself still has to be one that's productive. That has to be something productive in the Maisa Tiltal. But if the action is one that's preemptive, it's not a productive Maisa Tiltal. Kamash Malan, that even though the Maisa Tiltal is not productive, but still in my framework, it's still a productive action. You understand? That's the difference. The question is, it's a beautiful category. The question is, does a Maisa Tiltal have to be productive also? It's one thing to say it's from the framework of the Gavra, but you can't just stop like that. See, that's why Rav is bringing out a beautiful point. He's trying to show you that from the framework of the Gavra, it requires, there's a Maisa Tiltal also have to be productive. Or it's just simply as long as the net, as Arya put it, if the net result is productive in my framework, that's all I care about. Okay?
So
It's beautiful.
If it's just that
And say? The Gemara then says,
the normative function still defines.
We did Rashi.
The normative function still defines if it's Klish Muktzeh.
what now?
Go ahead.
Davar Shematalis, so it's Kufo in Mechamatzel Lo. Okay, but see, but I have no problem answering that. The same, but it's the same svara. In other words, at the end of the day, this move now, this final move, Abai and Rav mirror each other. Okay, or I should say mirror. They're really the same move because they're saying like this. They're saying either you're going to say your way, which is to say that they're retaining an intrinsic idea of the normative function. Oh, I would say. Or you say the way I'm saying, which is that no, really, MP logic, there is no reason why they should restrict the Klish Ma'akal Isser. The only problem is, if you treat Klish Ma'akal Isser the same way as Klish Ma'akal Heter, there'll be no method to differentiate between the two. So therefore, that's why they retained the Chumrah of, what do you call it, your question will still apply. But they will retain the Chumrah of Chamal Zel.
Question: Why would you?
I agree with Ariel Tucker's terms.